Welcome back to the channel. So on this episode, we've got a lot of cool stuff going on in the shop. Also, we reached 1,100 subscribers on our YouTube channel. So originally we were going to do it for 1,000, but you guys surpassed that. We're actually like at 1,000, well, 1,150 now. So I appreciate everybody coming by the channel. This really means a lot. We're going to do everything we can to keep this channel to grow. So let's get to this episode. You're watching the Vasco Speed Performance YouTube channel. Well, we finally got Ethan's car all knocked out. The turbo kit is completely done and finished. So he is going to pick this up early next week. But honestly, not just saying this, but this is probably one of my most favorite turbo kits that I've ever built. Everything just works really well and looks really super clean. So shout out to Ethan for bringing his car back to us. We really appreciate the business, man. This is a cool car. I can't wait to see it out racing. So this is Zach's Camaro. He brought it to us. We are going to be building a turbo kit for this thing. It has a 6.0 in it and a manual transmission. So should be a pretty cool build. It's a non-T-top car, which is, I think, kind of a neat thing. Yeah, we're going to get going on this thing. Okay, we're making pretty good progress on Zach's 4th gen Camaro. We went ahead and used stock manifolds, just flipped around. We TIG welded stainless V-bands to the end of them. When we do that, we get it down to bare metal so you don't have any rust, and then we preheat it with a torch and then TIG weld those on. Had really good luck with those. My car is a Fortune F-body. I've done it the same way. We also have the turbo mounted. So we designed this bracket here that bolts off the factory water pump, and then it has a piece of chromoly tube that comes out and goes to a Maven mount and holds the turbo right where we want it. And lasers are a game changer, so we can keep this thing straight and parallel. We want it that direction. Same with this direction. And then we leveled the Maven mount out. So looking really good. Matthew's doing a great job. We went ahead and got the intercooler mounted. We did that yesterday. So threw a little VSP logo on there. Nice little touch. The first one of these we made, we didn't make these long enough. So this is our second revision of these. But, you know, if it's not worth doing twice, it's not worth doing it all, right? So we got the intercooler mounted, got the manifolds on. One thing that I normally do on a F-body is I normally have the manifold go back and then come forward. Only thing with that is because the factory alternator goes here, and on my car, I had it right beside it and it kept frying alternators. On this car, he's already relocated it, so there's not really a need to do that. Another thing is, most of the time we have a turbo K-member, and I believe this is just like a normal style F-body K-member. It's not tubular, turbo tubular, I should say. So, but yeah. So Matthew's gonna get to work on starting to connect some pipes on this thing. Okay, so we made pretty good progress on Zach's Camaro. We got the entire cold side welded up. We've got all that done. We're working on the downpipe now, so got the hole for the downpipe coming through the fender. He brought the bumper out to us, got it put on. The oil pan had the incorrect drain on it. It was a -8, so we had to pull the pan and switch it to a -10. So we got that done. I got the feed line, or the drain line for the turbo made. I got the feed line made. It comes off back here off where the oil filter's at. So making really good progress on this. The last thing is we got to put the wastegate on. We need to make the downpipe and make some radiator hoses, and then this baby is done. So that's where we're at on the Camaro for this week. So we will see how far we get. Okay, so this is Kevin's beautiful, and when I say beautiful, like this is probably one of the nicest, if not the nicest, Fortune F-bodies around. He brought it to us a while back, and it was stone stock, and he said, hey, I want to do a cam. It's a pretty big task for a completely stock, really, really nice car. We ended up putting a cam in it. We ended up putting headers on it, all sorts of stuff. So he's brought it back to us, and let me go over some of the things we're going to do to it this time. So one of the issues he was having is this oxygen sensor was reading funky. It kept setting a code, so we're gonna check that out. You'll notice it's got some electrical tape on it here, so I'm not for sure what's going on here. So we'll end up taking this off and seeing what's going on with this electrical tape, because sometimes these wires can break and they can cause issues, or it could have just been Kevin getting paranoid and putting tape on it. So it looks like Kevin was just paranoid and put tape on it, so I don't see anything wrong there. One of the other issues is that this header was actually hitting the K-member here, so we went ahead and clearanced the K-member. We were going to pull the header off, but the problem with these headers is they are a pain in the butt, and you have to drop the whole K-member out. So we ended up just coming in here and clearancing that out and gave it a little extra room because it was rubbing there, and that could be setting a code or setting some false knock, maybe messing with the oxygen sensor. I doubt it, but you never know. So there's that. Another thing is his exhaust it was rubbing up in here. So we went ahead and adjusted stuff and got that over. But in doing that, he has a very rare option. This is the CME exhaust. So it actually shifted this over. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and shift it back the other direction. It's been welded here before, so the tips aren't exactly 100% flat. They both kind of like go down on each side. So we're gonna try and correct that without breaking it. We'll see how that goes. And we're also gonna raise this up about a 1/2 inch. So there's one other thing we gotta do. He also got a adjustable pan rod bar for it and some lower control arms. So the reason he got the lower control arms is because we noticed the last time he was in that this one was bent from a time where he was doing a burnout and he hit a curb. So this one was bent. As you can see, this is how the other one looks. So we got some adjustable lower control arms, so we're gonna replace those also. So that's what we're doing on Kevin's car. Okay, so I figured it was a good time to do a little update on the Maverick. So we have both frame rails, old ones, cut out. The new ones are in close. They're not 100% perfect. We still got some massaging to do. We wanted to wait till we got the K-member and the front suspension. All that showed up last week. So in doing so, we just kind of threw the car on here very quickly when we went to go put it on the chassis table. And so it wasn't 100% square. So what I went ahead and did was I changed some of my ideas, which, you know, you build something and you think, oh, this is going to be a great idea, and it doesn't work out that great. So I'll explain what I was going to do. It might be easier if I didn't have that light shooting at us. But these are what I originally designed, and I made them on a track so you could slide them. Cool idea. However, there is a decent amount of slop in there, and if you make it too tight, it won't slide. That was the first problem. The only reason I was really doing this was I already had this tubing that was, I could make it like this, so I should have just went out and got the correct length tubing, whatever. That's besides the point. So I slotted these out. The other reason I couldn't slot these out was I don't have a mill, and my plasma table would only go up so high. So what I ended up doing was I ended up getting 1.5 or 2 inch by 1 inch square tubing, and then just doubling it up here to make it the same as this. So that solved that issue. The other problem is when you go to tighten this down, you had no good way to get in there to the bolt. So on the new ones, I cut out the bottom of them so you can fit a socket in there. That makes it a whole lot easier. So the new brackets are in, and they go all the way across. One of the reasons I didn't want to go all the way across because I wanted to be able to get in there and get plenty of access to everything. But in the grand scheme of things, you've already got these, and I'm going to have other things going across there, so I figured it's not that big of a deal. So I went ahead and made them the full length, which they're 5-foot bars, and I slotted them out, and now they're clamping on to the pinch weld. And these pinch welds are kind of jankety as it is. They're kind of smashed up, so I've been trying to straighten them out as we go. But what I'm going to work on now is I'm going to work on getting the car completely level according to the rocker bars, not the rockers, but where the cage is at. So I'm going to get those squared, and then we can square up the front end and make sure everything's going to go good there. So here's the time lapse of me messing with all this stuff. So we made pretty good progress on the Maverick. I have one of the strut braces made. This is basically a spindle mount, I should say. So this is just a way for us to hold the spindle in the place that we need it to be. I have the K-member clamped just with these clamps where they say they want it to be. So in theory, if that's correct, we should be able to measure from the center of the spindle back to the center of the axle, and it should be the factory wheelbase, which is 103. So we're going to end up checking that before we drill the holes and put the K-member in there permanently. We're also going to make sure that it's square and everything's good there. So this is just a long, tedious process. Like if you go and start welding stuff and you get the cart ahead of the horse, then you're screwed down the road. So it takes a longer time to do it this way, but this is the way it needs to be done. So, but everything's starting to come together pretty good on it. It's starting to look pretty nice up here. It's starting to look how, in my eyes, how it should look. And then once we get all this done, we'll still cut these brackets off of here, and then we will end up sticking the engine in and seeing how everything fits. Well, that's going to do it for this episode, so I appreciate everybody coming by the channel as always. Next week, we got a full lineup of cars coming out. I think we got 3 or 4 cars coming out next week, so that should be pretty exciting. We knocked out a bunch of stuff this week. We're going to be getting the shop Camaro back going, so I ordered some parts for it the other day, so hopefully within the next episode or 2, we'll be putting that together, and we'll try to get out to the track one last time before the winter comes. So appreciate everybody coming by the channel as always, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.